You don't know what happened inside this house. But every single person who walked in after 3 a.m. said they heard the same thing. Police officers, paramedics, neighbors, even the real estate agent. A girl crying for help. But the girl who lived here died 27 years ago. The real history, based on true story. In 1998, Cincinnati, Ohio, 14-year-old Emily Rourke lived in a small 2-bedroom house with her mother. Emily was quiet, artistic, and known for recording everything on her cheap cassette recorder. On October 12, neighbors reported hearing screams around 3:07 a.m. Police broke in. Inside, they found no intruder, no forced entry, no sign of a struggle. But Emily was dead. Her body twisted in a position the coroner later called unnatural for any accident. Mouth open. Hands covering her ears. Eyes wide like she died listening to something unbearable. On the floor, the cassette recorder was still running. But the tape? Empty. No sound. Absolutely silent. Official cause, sudden cardiac arrest. Unofficial cause, everyone in the neighborhood knew that wasn't true. Sometimes later, the new family moves in. 22 years later, in 2020, the Moreno family bought the old Rourke house extremely cheap. The mother, Jenna, said they heard small noises at night. Their son, Lucas, said he heard someone breathing in his room. But the father, Eric, ignored all of it. Until 3:11 a.m., 1 month later. Lucas woke his parents. He said, "Mom, the girl is in my room again." They panicked, searched the entire house, but found nothing. But something new appeared. On Lucas's bedside table. A cassette tape. Old. Dusty. With one word written on it. Play. They didn't. For now. The first 3 a.m. incident. 2 days later, at exactly 3:08 a.m., every door in the house slammed at once. Lucas screamed. Jenna ran to him. He was sitting upright, shaking violently, staring at the corner of his room. He whispered, "She told me to close my ears." Jenna looked around. The air felt colder, sharp, metallic. Then she saw it. A small shadow, shaped like a girl, crouched in the corner. Not moving. Not breathing. Just staring. The moment she reached for Lucas, the shadow snapped its head toward her. Lights died across the whole house. Silence. Absolute silence. Just like Emily's tape. The parents finally played the cassette. Static at first. Then breathing. Slow. Wet. Too close to the microphone. Then a girl whispering, "Cover your ears before he speaks." Jenna froze. Eric rewound and played it again. This time, something new. A deeper voice. Distorted. Not human. "You heard her. Now you're mine." Every window shattered. Lights burst. The house shook like something huge was moving under the floorboards. Police arrived at 3:23 a.m. Inside, the family was found in the living room. Not mutilated. Not attacked. Worse. All three were dead. Hands clamped over their ears. Mouths open in a silent scream. Eyes wide exactly like Emily's. And the old cassette recorder was sitting in the middle of the room. Recording. When investigators played it back, the tape was silent. Completely silent. Just like Emily's. Neighbors swear that after that night, anyone walking past the street at 3 a.m. hears the same thing. A girl whispering through the walls. "Cover your ears. Before he speaks."
You don't know what happened on that tape. The police denied having it. The hospital destroyed every copy. But at 3:12 a.m., the recording started playing inside Daniel's house by itself. Daniel Wilson, age 33, had been struggling ever since his wife, Julia, died during a routine surgery in Ohio State Medical. The hospital claimed it was a rare complication. Daniel never believed that. He filed reports, requested records, asked for security footage of the operating room. The hospital said there was no recording that day. But that was a lie. 2 months later, Daniel found a small white envelope in his mailbox. No return address. No name. Inside was a single USB drive wrapped in hospital gauze. On the gauze, someone had written in shaky handwriting, "I'm sorry." Daniel plugged it into his laptop. His hands trembled as he pressed play. The recording showed Julia on the table. Doctors prepping instruments. Bright lights. Steady beeps. But something was wrong. The surgeons weren't talking. Not giving instructions. Not checking vitals. They were standing around her. Perfectly still. Facing her. As if waiting. Julia shivered on the table. One of the surgeons leaned close to her ear and whispered, "We hear you." Daniel jumped back from the screen. Julia whispered something back. But the audio was distorted, buried under static. One by one, the doctors stepped behind her. And then the lights flickered. And every surgeon turned their head toward the camera at the same time. The audio spiked with a horrible scratching. It sounded like nails. Scraping. The inside. Of the lens. The recording shook violently, glitching into blackness. But the audio kept playing. Daniel leaned closer. And then, through the static, Julia's voice whispered, "Daniel, don't watch the end." Then it cut. Just like that. At 3:12 a.m., Daniel's laptop turned on by itself. The video began playing again. But this time, the screen showed his living room. Live. Real time. Someone, or something, was filming him from inside his house. Daniel froze. He slowly turned around. Nothing there. But the recording zoomed in. Onto the back of his head. Then it cut again. Daniel stormed into the hospital the next morning and demanded answers. Finally, a young nurse broke down and confessed. Or 17 is closed for a reason. Patients don't just die there. Something listens inside that room. She told him Julia didn't die from complications. She screamed during the surgery. Begged the doctors to stop. Because she heard whispers in the operating room. Coming from the ceiling vents. Something nobody else could hear. Except her. Daniel went home and destroyed the USB. He smashed his laptop. He unplugged everything. But at 3:12 a.m., every screen in his house turned on at once. TV. Phone. Tablet. Even the microwave display. They all played the same footage. Operating room 17. Except this time. Julia was sitting up on the operating table. Head tilted. Neck limp. Eyes open, but wrong. She looked directly at Daniel through the screen. "I told you. Don't watch the end." And then, from the hallway behind him, Daniel heard surgical instruments clatter onto the floor. He turned slowly. And the last thing he saw was a figure wearing a surgeon's mask, skin stretched too tight, eyes bulging through the holes. Raising a scalpel the size of a kitchen knife. The neighbors later reported hearing screams. Followed by the sound of something being dragged across tile. Daniel was found the next day. But not in his house. He was discovered on an operating table. Inside or 17. Even though the room had been sealed for 9 years. The videotape? Still playing next to his body.